All right. So we just went through the graphing. Now I'm going to just take you through some other just kind of general review to go through um, just again some of the stuff that we've already done. So if we look at this first group of 4 right here, it says to convert either radians to degrees or degrees to radians. Well, remember that you're either going to multiply by pi over 180 or 180 over pi. So when we're going from radians to degrees, we are going to multiply by 180 over pi. So I'm going to take 4 pi over 3 times 180 over pi. How do I know that? Well, because I want the pi's to cancel, right? So that's kind of a way to check to see if you did it right. So now if I take 4 times 180 divided by 3, I get 240. Okay. This next one, 160 to radians. So 160 times pi over 180. Okay. Well, again, the zeros cancel. So then this would be like what? 16 pi over 18. But then I can reduce that. I can reduce that to 8 pi over 9. Okay. Next one, 650 degrees, 2 radians. So 650 times pi over 180. Again, you can divide a 10 off of both of those. I don't think you can reduce it past that. So 65 pi over 18. Last one, 5 pi over 6 multiply by 180 over pi. So the pi's cancel. 5 times 180 divided by 6 is 150 degrees. Okay, so we got 240 here, 65 pi over 18, 8 pi over 9, and 150. All righty. Moving over to the right, this next one, just reviewing some of these. You can take these right from a unit circle. I'll actually go through these relatively quickly because we've gone through these. So remember that if we're dealing with unit circle, this will always be 1. So square root 2 over 2 and square root 2 over 2 are those two sides on the 45, 45, 90. Again, in the unit circle, this is always 1. So in a 30, 60, 90, if that is 1, this is 1/2. And this would be square root 3 times 1/2, which is square root 3 over 2. Okay, that's pretty simple, pretty quick. Okay, let's look at these next couple. It says find the exact values. Okay, exact values of the sine of 3 pi over 4. So that tells me that I shouldn't use a calculator, that I should actually figure out the exact value. So I'm going to draw my unit circle. 3 pi over 4 is here. Okay, this is why it was so important to memorize your unit circle. So 3 pi over 4 is here. So that means that I have negative square root 2 over 2, square root 2 over 2 as those coordinates. Okay, sine is the y. So the sine of 3 pi over 2, square root 2 over 2. That is the exact value. Okay, let's try with cosine of 7 pi over 3. Okay. 7 pi over 3. Well, that's like one full rotation because one full rotation is 6 pi over 3. So I do one full rotation and then end here at 7 pi over 3. All right. So this one, the coordinates are 1/2 square root 3 over 2 because that would be the equivalent of pi over 3, right? So the cosine is the x value. So the cosine of that is 1/2. Okay. Ooh, tangent. Okay, 11 pi over 6. Well, that would be down here, right? So coordinates of that point are square root 3 over 2. Whoa, that's a 2. Negative 1/2, right? Okay, so if I go sine over cosine, right? I get negative 1 over square root 3, right? Because the 2's would cancel. Then if you rationalize that denominator, you get negative square root 3 over 3. All right, and we've talked about rationalizing that denominator before. All right, last one like this. Again, this is why it's so important to memorize that unit circle. 7 pi over 4 would be down here, right? So 7 pi over 4 is square root 2 over 2, negative square root 2 over 2. I'm looking for the cosine, right? So that's the x. Cosine, positive square root 2 over 2. There we go. Okay. Now these next couple are reviewing some older concepts, but it's always good to review. So let's go ahead and do that. Alrighty. So this first one we are going to solve. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract that 7 over. So I have 2.6, 1.4 to the x equals 41. Then I'm going to divide. I'm going to use my calculator for that. So 41 divided by 2.6. I get 1.4 to the x equals 15 point, I'll go 77. Okay, this is where the logs come in. So x comes out front, log 1.4, log 15.77. So I'm going to take log of 15.77, close that parenthesis, divide by log 1.4, and I get x as about 8.197. Okay, so just reviewing some of those steps there. All right, complete the square. Let's review this. So remember with complete the square, we still group, even with a number in front, we still group those first two terms, but we're going to factor out that 2. Then plus something. And we have that plus 3 minus something. Okay, so now we have our square that we are going to complete, hence the name, complete the square. Ooh, half of 5, negative 2.5x. Negative 2.5x. So I have x, and x minus 2.5. Man, I'm having trouble with my stylus. Minus 2.5. What's 2.5 times 2.5? Well, I'm pretty sure it's 6.25. Whoops. 6.25. Okay, so 6.25. But again, I'm not going to subtract that from here. I'm going to multiply by 2 first. So I'm actually going to subtract 12.5. Okay, because again, you need to distribute that 2. Okay, so final answer. Y equals 2 times x minus 2.5 squared minus 9.5. There we are. Okay. Last one, it says if this is the first quadrant of a unit circle, label each point with its degree, radian, and exact coordinates. All righty. Well, this first one is at 0 degrees, then 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees. This would be 90 degrees. Okay. Radians. Well, 0 is just 0. Okay. 30 is pi over 6. 45 is pi over 4. 60 is pi over 3. 90 is pi over 2. Alrighty. Coordinates. Coordinates. 0 is at 1, 0. Pi over 6 is at square root 3 over 2, 1/2. Pi over 4, square root 2 over 2, square root 2 over 2. Pi over 3, 1/2. Square root 3 over 2. And pi over 2, I'll squeeze it right here, 0, 1. And there we are.